Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy El Jamo, or should I say Lil Jame. And today I'm going to be making a really weird kind of styled video. I'm going to be making a beat. For those of you guys who don't know, I already said in my first video I was going to do like some sort of music type videos. I've been really into that, so I thought I'd show it off anyway. I have already edited around with the sound. I'll show you guys that in a sec. I've pitch corrected it a little bit so that it's a bit more on beat. Oh, sorry, on the time. Put it to tempo, and I've also stretched it out a little bit again so it was a bit more on the beat. It is painful to listen to, so hopefully we can turn it into something better though. Fucking awful, actually bad, but it's going to be a challenge, and I like good challenge. So first of all, the first thing I did was flip it up at least 4 semitones. I don't know, I just thought this was a pretty decent sound. It still sounds shite. Yeah, so it's pretty bad. It's really bad, in fact. So I'm going to play around with it for a bit and see if I can make it sound a little bit better. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to drop onto it is a quick auto-tune. And yes, before you ask, everyone uses it. I've chucked, these are the settings here. I've chucked it into the right key, and I've put it up 7 semitones. So hopefully that should sound a little bit better. Also, I'll show that in a second. But yes, this is what it sounds like. And it's popping and clicking. It's pretty crap, but it'll do. I've also put some format on it so that it sounds, well, this is like a sort of, imagine your throat. I'll show you guys what the changes does to it. So let me just play it. I thought that sounded a little bit sort of fluty or something. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so the next effects that I've added are just a little EQ and a compressor. Compressor just to keep everything in the sort of same noise level and reduce it. And I don't know what I'm doing. It's just changing it a little bit. I always put these settings on. The ratio's quite low. And I've also chucked an EQ on it just so that you only get the high end and boosted a couple of frequencies so it just sounds a little bit nicer. There's still a lot of popping and clicking, but I guess it'll have to do. I wanted to turn it into sort of like some weird violin thing. I don't know, a cello. I chucked a little LFOtool on it, just to bop it up. Kind of like I don't know, the effect that you'd get on a blowing an instrument, I guess. I've chucked a guitar rig on it, just using a preset here. Oil can echo, and chucked some delay, reverb, and compression on it. Now I'm going for like, it sounds like the Game of Thrones theme tune kind of meme. It sounds like really Arabic. I don't know. In my opinion, it sounds good. Okay, and then finally I chucked on some Valhalla vintage reverb. So it's a plugin. It's another plugin. To be fair, I've got a lot of plugins here that I've already used that aren't actually default. But yeah, so this plugin just adds some reverb. It's a reverb plugin, if you couldn't tell by the words. And yeah, these are the settings here. It just adds, I wanted to try and get rid of the clicking noises and balance everything out and make it sound all sort of ethereal. So this is what I've come up with. Boom. I mean, I think that sounds pretty good. I think it sounds kind of like quite Suicideboysy. So I'm gonna chuck some really heavy drums on this one and see how that sounds. Oh. Beautiful, what a great crushed noise. That sounds dreadful. Okay, so I'm boosting a few frequencies, lowering the... I want the bass to just be super gritty and just booming in your ear. So, yeah, now I have to come up with some sort of bass pattern or 808 drum pattern. Actually, before that, I think I'll do a melody, just because it'll just be a little bit easier to work with as well. I've got the key already and everything like that, but I do want to get the everything else sorted. So I'll just chuck on some other sounds. I'll see what sounds good. Okay, so I've got the pattern nailed down. It should sound something kind of similar to this. So I think it's alright. So that's going to be the basic piano pattern, but I want to put that on something other than just like a simple, I don't know, just a simple piano. It just sounds a bit dry and crap. Okay, so I created this little melody. I'll remove all the effects that I've added. And it started off like just this. Using an Omnisphere patch. I think I used ambient space piano. It's quite a nice one. It's like a weird keyboard thing. Chucked some gross beat on it, just half-timed it, and then chucked some reverb on it. Made it nice and wet sounding. So this is the sounding of it. Wait, no, that's not the sounding of it. Oh, sorry. There you go. So still keeping the sort of same slow feel of it. I quite like it. And I've chucked another Omnisphere patch. I'm still working on this one, but yeah. And this one, I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. I chucked a pad on it. I think it needs something like that. Maybe on the low ends or the high ends. I'm not too sure. I'll have a think about that one. Okay, so I've got this so far. It's alright, but I think I put some degrade on it and some reverb. But the problem is I can hear all the high end, which is all that sort of just awful bit noise. So I'm going to just put an EQ on it, chuck it. I'm going to make it sort of sound a bit lo-fi. Chuck some of this bad boy on it and see the frequencies that I want to go for. Okay, so I specifically like... Let me just turn that down a little bit. I specifically like this low end part of it. Like you can hear... Oh, sorry, that distorted the hell out of it. I specifically like this sort of low end part, so I'm going to keep this high whilst keeping this a bit low. And this is the high end part, just right here. I want to remove that fully. So we'll just chuck that on it and see how that sounds. Okay, so I think that's probably enough for melodies. Now I'm just going to choose some samples to chuck in and see what works nice. Hopefully we can get some proper good bassy Suicideboys ones on there. Okay, so I've got this so far. What I want to do is just chuck some snares on every offbeat. So oh wait, hold on, I missed one. Skills. Okay, just basic. And then I'll just chuck in some hi-hats on every other one. This is slightly out of time. It's exactly 30 milliseconds out of time. This is dreadful for that. I'll probably resample it and just try it out in a second. In the meantime, I really want to do the drums. The drums are going to sound really distorted. I've already added a little bit of a patch to it, using some Camel Crusher and an EQ, so let's see how that sounds. The sound I'm going for is this, but more velocity, so I don't know, big, beefy sort of sound. I also want to add a triplet 808. If we're going to be doing like a Suicideboys kind of beat, I want to be doing a triplet. They always go... It was a dreadful example, but I'm going to do that with the drums, so just chuck one there and there. So that hopefully that should sound a little bit better. Oh, well let's put it in the right octave. Yeah, so that's the sort of sound that I want to go for. Hopefully that sounds pretty good. For the kick, I'm literally just going to chuck it on every single note of the 808, see if that sounds good. I've also added some pitch bends in the 808, so here, for example. But I think I'll just do it on the start of the note as opposed to like when it bends. Okay, so I feel like I've got the drums sorted. The drums are going to sound like this. And then the glide. And I think for the second part of the beat, I want to be doing, maybe for the second half of the 808s, I'm going to chuck them up an octave or something. What sounds good? That sounds good. So I'll chuck them up to that level, say on the second part there. So then for the ending, we'll have... Yeah, cool. So that just sort of sounds just a little bit different, a little bit of variation, keeps everything a bit fresh. Okay guys, so I basically just laid everything out. I've added a little tape stop thing here. You can listen here. Like that. I just want that, and then I'm going to have the thing kick in. I'm going to add like a little hit thing for when it goes in. And I've just arranged it out like this for now. I'll show you guys the actual first initial drop so you can see it from there. So if I play it like that, and because we're going for the Suicideboys theme, I wanted to put the hi-hats before, and then the snare, and then layer everything with a quick drop. So this is what it sounds like. This is also without the melodies. So I think it sounds pretty decent so far. I rearranged everything, chucked some compression on the drums and distortion, just so the drum sounds a little bit more thick, boy. And then sidechained it to the actual bass, so you can hear it here. Oh wait, that's the, yeah. Just a little bit of limiting on it. In fact, did I even put it on? Yeah. So now you can see this slightly ducks down when the kick's happening. It means that the kick can have a bit of room to breathe and just bounce through. I also chucked a little bit onto the main melody. You can see that here. So now that you can hear the punch of the kick, it sounds a lot more stronger. I don't know, I just think that sounds a lot better. I honestly sound like the DJ Carnage Razor video.
It just makes it sound very, way more stronger.
Originally the melody was a little bit off because of the latency issue that Omnisphere has, but I fixed that now, and this is what the main melody sounds like with it. So it sounds a lot nicer. Oh. Yeah, so that sounds pretty decent. And then also layered on with the second melody, it sounds a bit like this. I've also added a few impacts everywhere, just pretty subtle, but it just changes up, and then there's a little mini. I've also re-added the bass, the original 808, but I've reversed it and chucked it just before the drop so you can hear it goes like that. The arrangement's really pretty simple. I haven't actually done it very well, if I'm honest. Usually it's like two bars for the verse or something, or 2 bars for chorus. I just chucked it everywhere, chucked random things in, so it probably won't sound like it fits the song, but we'll see anyway. But it is kind of insane that we've gone from this original sample. It sounds like completely different. It really is really strange. Anyway guys, so I'll let the beat play, and you guys let me know what you think in the comments, but hopefully you think this is a bit fuego.